Hello fellow manga readers, welcome to episode 2 of Let's Read, and today we're going to read Giganto Maxia because I was looking inside my bookcases and I was like, alright, what do I have a volume 1 anywhere that I haven't read yet? And I don't really have that many, and since this is a one shot I thought it would be nice to, at least give my thoughts on it, because it's only one volume and you'll have finished the series, which is nice for your wallet especially. So like I told you in my last video and the first episode of Let's Read, we are going to add something to this corner here every time in every episode, so we're going to do that now. Right, I finally found one. I'm going to hang up a wall scroll today to mount behind this lamp here for some nice ambient ambiance. And this wall scroll is actually one of my favorite anime and one of my favorite mangas on there. Well, one that I really like, at least. Maybe not one of my favorites, but it's really good. And here it is, the big unveil. It is Yato or Yaboku from Noragami, and we are going to mount it on the wall now. I think it looks pretty badass. Yeah, it looks pretty badass. So, I just mounted that Yato scroll from Noragami. It is one of my favorite manga right now. I'm up to date with volume 21 and of the physical release, that is. I'm not up to date with the online release, but that's fine. Let's get started with reading Giganto Maxia, and let's start reading the first chapter. Alright everyone, I just finished chapter 1 of Giganto Maxia, and this is not even slightly comparable to Berserk, other than the art style obviously. It starts like they say, far in the future, beyond the end of history. Myths are resurrected and they are Giganto. That's what starts. I have no clue what they are, have been explained, but I'm going to give you a brief summary of what happened. The main characters are Delos and Prome. I hope I pronounced them correctly. Prome has the form of a little girl, she's human, and you have Delos, which is a demi-human. And pretty much what I've noticed from this first chapter is Prome, the little girl, has the brains, and Delos, the demi-human, has the strength, I guess. And Delos is thirsty, he's looking for water. But they actually end up getting captured by these beetle type, by people on beetles, and apparently there's this separate clan type thing which has demi-humans and beetles living together. They get captured by them, Delos and Prome, and Delos has to fight their tribe leader, I believe it was, and he has this, he's demi-human but then with hardened skin. So that's what has pretty much happened right now. I like the fact that it's actually not a ordinary world, just like with most manga, and this is way up in the future, and apparently there are, demi-humans, normal humans, and Giganto, which I haven't a clue what they are just yet. But you really do see the art style of Berserk back in here. It looks really well drawn. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can say for now, and let's get to the second chapter. Alright, I just finished chapter 2, and I do not want to spoil that much of the story because that's not why I make these videos. But basically, he had to fight against the tribe leader because apparently humans try to take everything from demi-humans, and they wanted to get revenge on that, basically. In the end, Delos won, and you get some backstory about Delos on how he got there, how did he get so good at wrestling, which is actually a pretty interesting little story. and since they kind of tied, he got accepted into the tribe because no human was ever, you know, able to get that close to beating that tribe leader. Find out that Prome is actually very good at healing, because he heals Delos in, let's say, an interesting way. I'm not going to specify how, but a very interesting way, and she can actually heal other people as well. But that also gave Delos a weakness, because he is now very reckless when wrestling, because, you know, she will heal him anyway, pretty much. That's it. And that's where chapter 2 ends, so let's get started with reading chapter 3. Chapter 3 was actually a really quick chapter to read. Then the tribe leader takes Delos and Prome to their god, which they worship, which is called Happy, the god of fertility. Because in this world, there's one primitive god, and then there's gods that god has created. And in this case, that's Happy, the god of fertility, because this is the only tribe that actually lives in a desert. And thanks to Happy, they have fertility, and they have the beetles, and they can actually survive in the desert. So without Happy, they can't survive. But then, all of a sudden, the Empire attacks, and they want to take Happy, which is actually a Giganto. So, you know, they can have it for the Empire themselves. After which they get attacked, and they say to Prome and Delos, and then they say to Prome and Delos, like, you can go, alright, we'll deal with this on our own, because they take their pride above anything else, right? They have to fight on their own, and if, you know, the Empire, because they don't know where Delos and Prome are from, they don't want them to help them, because they are ready to die for their tribe. So they are actually already prepared, like, okay, we can finally see our sons again, and they think it's fine to die if that's for their tribe. So Delos and Prome do not have to help them. After which the enemies keep slaying people from the tribe, and Delos and Prome don't really know what to do. Let's start reading chapter 4. I just finished the 4th chapter, and man, this chapter was badass, alright? My god. So, like I said, the last chapter ended with, you know, Prome and Delos being like, okay, what do we do now? Because we don't want to help them really, because they don't like that, because of their pride, but like, we can't leave them to die because the Imperial is so strong. And the chapter starts with the Imperial. They have this Giganto with them called Titan, and my god, by the way, this manga has some amazing, images that cover both pages. It looks so good. But yeah, they are tired of the Imperial's tired of the desert, and they really want to take their Giganto, the Giganto of fertility or whatever. Basically, the tribe leader evacuates, and they're like, okay, get on top of the dome and start attacking there, because this is not going well for us. After which, some people on a beetle are actually in danger, and then Prome and Delos go to them, and then all of a sudden Prome forms a shield around Delos and starts doing all this weird shit, like, look at this, how many text bubbles there are, right? She's doing all these processes, and she turns Delos in a Giganto and awakens as Gora, he's called, and he looks fucking badass, alright? Now this chapter was really a quick read, because there were so many panels which cover both pages, but I really do like the look of that. Like, there's like 8 pages which only have 4 images which only have one image each on them, which I really like actually. So let's get started with reading chapter 5. Alright, so I just read chapter 6 and 7 because 6 was also really short. The battle between the Empire and the tribe has ended, and it ended with Prome giving everyone a question. They either get revenge for their past, alright, or have an amazing future. I'm not going to tell you how because again, I don't want to spoil everything, but it's just, it gives them an interesting question because this tribe has been tortured by the Imperial, like they said. Sons have been raped in front of their fathers, as well as the wives in front of their husbands, as well as their grandchildren in front of their grandparents. Like, this is not human, and obviously they want their revenge. But what is more important, like revenge on the past or a better future without getting that revenge? Which is where chapter 6 ends and where chapter 7 starts. So let's get started reading chapter 7. Alright, so I just finished the last chapter of Giganto Maxia, and if you like Berserk, you know, the style of it, the story is entirely different. So but if you like the art style of Berserk and you want to read more of Kentaro Miura works, and you want a quick read, and you don't want to buy like another 20 volumes to finish one series, because you know, sometimes you start a series, you buy volume 1, you want to read more, and then you have 20 books, and that's a lot of money. This is a one-shot, alright? Which is where I start my review, because I thought, you know what, I might as well review it, as this is a one-shot. The last chapter was about what the actual objective was of Prome. It turns out that her objective is returning life to the world, and also in this case defeating the Imperial Gigantos, because they want to take everything from the world pretty much. And it also ends with Delos asking Prome, like, what is happening to the world? Why is the world like this? And then she explains that every hundreds of millions of years the world pretty much goes extinct, and then all of these weird things happen with the world and life has to start again, and which is why she wants to get life back to the world. And it's just there's actually quite a bit of humor in this as well, but yeah, I really did enjoy it for it being a one shot. I wouldn't have minded if it was actually a few volumes more, but they did end it well, in my opinion. You know, there could have been a book 2, but I think it's actually really good for a one shot. So actually, like I said, while reading this, I was thinking, alright, you might as well just review this instantly, because this is the only volume. So let's do that. If you don't know my reviewing system, it is the Space Reviewing System. You can find a video about it on my channel. And it basically has 5 categories of which I will review my manga in. So let's start with the first one, which is the S, which stands for the story. And the story, you would think that the story was probably not that big in a one shot, and you would be right. But it's actually pretty good for a one shot. Let's call it that, because you know, the world, it goes extinct and all life goes extinct, and the world goes, you know, back to being a bad place. And she wants to make the world the place that it once was, you know, brimming with life. Yeah, I actually did like it pretty much. So for a one shot, like I said, it put in a lot of story. I remind you, this is not even 300 pages. It's a little more than 200. So I think that's a pretty big feat to actually get in quite a bit of story and have it be interesting as well, because this is, you know, I thought it was pretty interesting to read. So I'll give that a 7 out of 10 for story. Right, so let's get to the P, which is physical quality, which is about the manga itself. It's very readable. There's no gutter loss in the middle. It's not a hardcover. It's your generic soft touch feeling, as you can hear. It does crease relatively easily, but I don't know what happened during transport. There's a huge crease in here, but that's just my fault. Still not sure how that happened, but yeah, this is a Dark Horse release. It costs $14 US, and yeah, the paper is pretty good quality. I wouldn't say that it's worse than usual. I think it's just average, maybe a little higher than average. And the paper quality, the physical quality, it is good, because the front looks nice, spine looks nice, back looks nice. It's all in the same theme. And I'll give it a 7 out of 10, because it's still a soft cover, but it's well executed. I like it. Then we get to art, and this will be very familiar if you have read something of Kentaro Miura before, you know, just like Berserk. Now, it is from the same creator, like I said, of Berserk, and it looks fantastic. The art in this, like, look at this, look at these panels. It's actually ridiculous. It looks so unbelievably good. This is exactly what you would expect from Kentaro Miura, and yeah, this is no different from that. This is a definite 9 out of 10 for me. It looks really good. Then we get to the C for characters. Now you have Prome, which is the little healing as well as turning I keep forgetting his name. Delos into a Giganto Maxia, into a Giganto. And Giganto Maxia basically means a war of giants, by the way, and Giganto means giants, of course. But yeah, the characters are pretty fun. Prome is very smart, very technical, whereas Delos is strong, but I guess a lot less smart than Prome. Not dumb exactly, but you know, less smart. He has been a slave in his life. There's quite a bit of backstory. Unfortunately, by the way, no real backstory of Prome, which is unfortunate. But then again, this is a one-shot. There's not really that much room in here to put a lot of story. I would have liked some more story, I guess, about the Imperials as well, and you know, maybe a bit more tribes. But like I said, this is a one-shot. You can't really expect that. But I do think that's a little bit unfortunate. But for the room which they had, they did introduce the characters pretty well, and you know, they were consistent, and they were pretty enjoyable. So I'll give that a 7 out of 10 as well. And then we get to the last category, which is enjoyability. I did really enjoy reading this one shot of Giganto Maxia, and I would recommend fans of Berserk to read it. And in general, just people looking for a series which is only 1 volume long, a quick read because of the massive panels, and it looks good in a bookcase as well, which is a nice touch. It's only $14 US, which is an average price for a manga pretty much, and you're getting your money's worth. You're getting really nice art, you're getting a good story, albeit not that long, not that, I guess, advanced, but it is a one-shot. What do you expect, right? That's one of the things, one of the downsides to a one-shot. You can't really put that much in there, but Kentaro Miura did put pretty much all he could into this thin of a volume. Well, I guess the average thickness of a volume. And I'm very happy that I've read it, and I really did enjoy it. Would I read it again? Maybe, not really, I guess. It is a nice story to read once, but the fun's out of it already after reading it once, in my opinion. But it was a nice experience, so I'll give the overall enjoyability an 8 out of 10, because it was still very enjoyable to read, because there was humor, there are some horror elements, because man, how how Kentaro Miura draws those Gigantos and Octopias, or whatever they're called, the monsters. They are pretty scary to look at. Yeah, like I said, some humor, some action, some backstory. I really enjoyed it. Overall, it does still get my gold award, well deserved, and I will recommend this for $14 if you're looking for a nice one-shot with amazing art and a good story. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye!